Hey, what is going on, guys? It's the SS Ultimate Goku back with another video. And so, as you guys know, I've been very vocal as of today's announcement, well, actually, yesterday's announcement of Aries being casted by Halle Bailey. I made a video. It was positively received, but not many people have watched it yet. But I have been talking about this really vocally on Twitter and Instagram, and it's sparked a lot of interest. I'm kind of getting a lot of the negative people about this, and I have kind of compiled, I got my entire, because I've trying to watch other videos, and I'm trying to argue with people on the other side of this that are open to this, because I want to actually have a real debate about this, because I'm not just doing this as just to do it. I'm doing this because, this is going to spark, a huge debate among everyone in this, whole, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, debate, this whole debate, about how Aries should be portrayed in the live-action movie. So, my stance is still firm on this. I am on the hashtag, not my Aries. Or, not my Ariels. Ariel. So, I have come up with a lot of arguments that I have argued with people when they have come back to me with certain stuff. I even argued with people in my Discord. I argued with a lot of people that I like, and that's their opinion, but I still stick to my opinion on this. And like I said, my Discord is always open if anyone wants to join my server. Or if you guys, want to get in there and, do a voice chat with me and debate. I'm even willing to debate someone we can do a stream or whatever. I don't know. We'll set that up and we'll figure it out. But I'm willing to do that. Because, I really want to actually put my points out there. I want to debate someone on the other side. And that's why I've been looking at some of these other videos that are being putting out that are people on the other side of this are okay with Ariel being casted by Halle Bailey. And again, I want to just clear this up right now, because I said this at the beginning of my last video that I made. I have nothing against Halle Bailey. I'm saying her name wrong. I have nothing against her, personally. She's probably a tremendous actress, and that's great. I just don't like her in the role in Ariel. Okay? If they were to, let's say, for the live-action movie, because in the example of the live-action Aladdin movie, they gave Princess Jasmine a best friend that she never had in the original cartoon series, or not series, cartoon movie, named Dahlia. If they were to do that, and they had, that character as a black mermaid, have her as Ariel's best friend, I'd be totally okay with that. That would be great. That would be fine. I'd have no issue with that. It's the whole idea that Ariel is casted as a, as black is my issue. Because the character was clearly established as white. Now, there are some arguments, and I kind of have a bunch of things typed out right here. And I got my piece of paper right here. Of stuff that I've listened to, points that people have brought up on the other side. A lot of the stuff is stuff that was brought up on the other side, too. And I want to talk about that and address it. So, the first point I want to talk about is the obvious. Ariel was written originally to be a white redhead. That is a fact. That is what she was written as. And, I feel that's what she should be in the live-action movie. And again, it's nothing against Bailey. Nothing against her. She's probably a tremendous actress. Like I said, I've said this before and I'll say this again. This has nothing to do with the race of an actor or anything like this. This is about character consistency with the source material. She was written and drawn to be white, and that's what she should be. That is what this is. If Ariel was written to be black originally, I would have no issue with this right now. I would not be doing this right now. Okay? That is my issue. Okay? Like I said, number 2, whitewashing, blackwashing are bad. I hate them both. As a matter of fact, for anyone who doesn't know, because I usually typically on my channel cover anime, particularly I used to do a lot of Avatar stuff back, when Avatar was still going on, as well as Legends of Korra, which is the sequel to Avatar. They made a live-action movie called Last Airbender. And they decided, because Katara, Sokka, and the Water Tribe characters, they, in the cartoon series, were Asian. Now, some people have kind of argued with me saying that they were Native Americans. I'm leaning to believe that the Water Tribes were somewhat Asian and Native American because, they kind of have a mixture, because there's some stuff that they do, there's a lot more stuff they do that's more of Native American type stuff, but at the same time, they also do a lot of Asian stuff too, like the yin yang, with the water spirits and stuff like that. So, no here or there. Nonetheless, no matter if they're, Native American or Asian, they're definitely not white. Well, guess what? In the live-action movie of Avatar The Last Airbender, which they called Last Airbender in the live-action movie, they decided to cast Katara and Sokka and all the other Water Tribe members as white rather than Asian or Native American. Didn't like that. And I was very vocal about that at the time. And I even called out the director about that because I do not like the director. Let's just put it that way. Now, some people have kind of argued, well, the director was kind of forced to cast these people as this. There was kind of a story that came out a couple of years ago, but I'm kind of questioning that because, seriously, come on now, it's not just the Water Tribe. There were actually other race, characters besides the Water Tribes that were still casted as white and shouldn't have been. But I could go on a whole, video about Last Airbender and how terrible and whitewashing that stupid movie was. But that's not what this is about. This is about The Little Mermaid. So let's get more into that. Point being is whitewashing is bad and blackwashing is just as bad. And that's my point on this, is going against the source material of the character, no matter how good the actor is not right, in my take. Sometimes you can get away with that character if the character is like a genie, for example, or something like that, because, genie really is not defined by color, because he's blue for most of it, and or, characters that might have a color that, is completely unnatural in real life. Someone had brought up a point about a character that, had purple skin or something. I don't remember exactly what character it was, but I was like, well, yeah, if a character has a purple skin, that has nothing to do with, anything. At that point, you can just pick whoever. But, point being is, that has nothing to do with the argument that we're putting at. If a character is specifically written and drawn to be this color, that should be the color that they are. And that was the point I was getting at. So, one of the other... This is actually one of the biggest... this point that I got on my list right here, this is one of the biggest arguments I've heard in a lot of videos and a lot of comment replies that I have gotten, and that is the mermaid are fictional characters. This is the dumbest argument I've heard. This is an argument that I think a lot of people think is a very strong argument, but it is a dumb argument. And I'm going to tell you why it's a dumb argument. Because that argument can literally be applied to any character in fiction. That can be applied to superheroes, that can be applied to Terminators, that can be applied to Super Saiyans, that can be applied to fighters, that can be applied to video game characters, that can be applied to anything. Because when you draw something, that is fiction right there. Anything you draw, anything you animate, that is fiction. Okay? So, people have used the whole, oh, she's a mermaid, she's a fish, she's this, she's that. That has no bearing on this argument. Okay? That has no bearing on this argument. I could literally take the superhero characters that are black, Cyborg and Black Panther, and literally now redraw them as white. Guess what what you would do if I did that or someone else did that? You would say that was racist because they were always written to be black. And I would agree with you. They are black characters. And this is what I'm trying to talk about. You know, like people are saying, oh, she's a fictional mermaid. Yeah, superheroes are fictional too. I guess Black Panther can be white now, right? You know what I'm saying? It makes no sense, guys. It makes no sense. And, you know, these arguments, like I literally already debunked most people already that replied to me and shit like that. And again, I'm open up for debates with anyone that wants to debate on the other side. I'm literally laying out most of the things that I've heard from most people that are arguing this point. Okay, so let's get to another point here. Ariel wasn't made with the intent to be white because it was never stated in the movie. So basically this argument is, well, in, Mulan, the person was Chinese, which she was. In Aladdin is, Arabian, so he's got to be like that. Basically like cartoon movies that where the character was specifically represented by this nationality, they automatically have to be that. But if it's never specifically stated in the movie what they are, then then they can be, shown as whatever. They can be whatever you want them to be, basically, at that point. That's wrong. And here's why that's wrong. Because when the creator went and drew that character, they had an intent and a mindset of what they visually were drawn as. You get what I'm saying? They had a mindset and an intent for what that character was written as. So when someone says, oh, well, they were never stated, they didn't represent a nationality, they didn't represent anything, they could literally be anything that they want. By that logic, that goes back to my point earlier that Cyborg in the live-action Justice League movie could have been casted as white. And guess what? All of yous would say that would be racist. Which it is. It is racist. It's absolutely racist. And I'd be making a video if they ever did that. And they casted Cyborg as a white person in a live-action movie. I would call that racist. I would make a video. Personally. Just like I made a video about the Avatar movie. Okay? I mean, that was several years ago. I think I still have it unlisted, because I unlisted a lot of my old videos, but I did a whole recap about that movie. And how terrible it was for casting white people in a movie that wasn't about white people. Or, for the most part, weren't about white people. So that was my point, and that was my argument. Okay, guys, that was my argument about that. Is that, like, well, they weren't intended. She wasn't intended. She wasn't specifically stated to be that character. That still doesn't matter, guys. That's what you guys don't understand. That doesn't matter. Okay? That doesn't matter. She was written and drawn to be white. Because guess what? If she wasn't drawn and or intended to be white, she wouldn't be white. Simple. It's simple. It really is, guys. So a lot of things are, again, getting back to that point, the character Ariel, the mermaid character, was originally portrayed in Denmark. Okay, which, last time I checked, there aren't that many African Americans in Denmark. And I know some people are going to argue, well, that doesn't matter, right? That doesn't matter, it's, this is fictional, right? Okay, well, then we can go back to the other logics that, well, and, the whole logics about the characters, anybody, can be casted as, and whatnot. It's like, okay, but the character was originally written for that story. So again, it's already going against what the source material was. So you're already changing it by saying, well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because she's a fictional character. She's a fictional character, so we can just make up stuff. Isn't this also? I'm having a flashback. Weren't there people that were bitching about that joke of a character in the Aladdin live action movie? That white character. That white character that lasted like what, 1 minute in the film in total? That the character that was irrelevant, that white prince that no one liked. Okay, everyone bitched about that little joke of a character, right? But because, white people typically aren't in, the Middle East, but yet the Ariel character of the Little Mermaid is portrayed to be near Denmark, but yet, yet we're going to have a mermaid be black instead of what the source material was, which is her being white. You get what I'm saying, guys? So I'm going to get to this point, and again, this is going to be a controversial point, but I actually already got someone on Instagram to publicly admit that they were racist about this point. Yeah, someone actually admitted. I actually posted it on my Instagram, which I still can't believe she said it. But, so, it is racist when a white person is casted in a role for a character that was intended to be black, but not the other way around. How is this diversity? So, when a white person is, or when a white character, I should say, I'm sorry, not a person. When a white person is written for a white person, for a white character is written for a white person, right? But then all of a sudden, when they do an adaptation, a live action adaptation, all of a sudden, it's okay for a black person to take on that role, and that's considered diversity. However, if it's the other way around, and the character was written for a black person to be that character, then it's okay, or then it's not okay, I'm sorry. Then it's not okay for a white person to take on that role in a live action adaptation. That's what people say. Okay? You know, it's diversity for one way, but it's racist for the other way. That is a bullshit statement. Okay? It's racist on both ends. Period. Okay? It is. It's absolutely racist. And like I said, as I said earlier, I absolutely hated the Avatar movie because it was whitewashing, you know. So again, I hated movies where they intentionally took characters that weren't supposed to be white in the source material and make them, or that weren't white, and then make them white for a live action adaptation. So again, I like I said, I'm all for diversity, but not if it's intentionally to do something to ruin the intent of the character, which that's what they're doing here. Like I kind of got into this point earlier. Why not make a live action movie? Live action movie of The Little Mermaid where you have a white Aries, but then have a best friend, like another mermaid, that's black. You know, kind of like what they did in the live action Aladdin, where they gave Princess Jasmine, a best friend named Dahlia. They could do the same thing. They could give Ariel a black mermaid best friend with a new name and a new storyline. You know, kind of tweak the storyline a little bit, up a little bit for them. If they did that, I'd be okay with that. I would have no problem with them having a black mermaid as, you know, Ariel's best friend. My whole issue is the fact that we are taking the character of Ariel and changing her into a different race for no reason. Just because we think it's diversity somehow, and it really isn't. So, another point I want to bring up is the people that are... people are being called trolls or racists for stating their opinions about the hashtag #NotMyAriel. Hell, even when I commented on someone's video, there was some idiot troll that commented to me claiming that I was a troll. Obviously, I'm not. I'm making videos. I'm telling people, literally, physically, what's going on and what's this all about. You know, I'm not afraid. You know, and I've publicly told, you know, some of these guys, you know, my Discord's out open, you know, for a debate. So, you know, I'm not trolling, guys. You know, not everybody that's talking about the hashtag God, what was it? The hashtag #NotMyAriel, #NotMyAriel. A lot of them are basically saying that that we're trolls or we're racist. We're not racist, and we're not trolls. Well, I shouldn't say all, because there might be some trolls in that hashtag group, but I'm not one of them. And I have given legitimately good points. Okay, and I actually printed out points based on a lot of people's responses that I have gotten, and or videos that I have seen. So another point I want to bring up that I've heard from a couple different people is characters have been segregated since media was started. How about make new characters? So the biggest issue is since the 1930s, when media was starting to get created, when Disney started to really kind of start creating things. I mean, technically Disney was even earlier than that, but around the 30s is when superheroes were starting to get created. So we're just going to kind of go with that. There hasn't been as many black characters written because there was segregation back then, which is bad. You know, people weren't treated correctly. And we've kind of corrected that, which is great, and I'm happy that we have done that. But here's the thing. How about instead of trying to make characters based on other characters, like someone suggested, well, what about a black Batman? Or, you know, I mean, there technically is already a black Spider-Man. But getting to whole Miles Morales, you know, I want to use this as an example. Miles Morales, would he have been a popular character without having the tagline Spider-Man on it? Because Spider-Man was already a big brand before Miles Morales, alright, with Peter Parker. Then they created Miles Morales to give an African-American Spider-Man. But Spider-Man was already the biggest Marvel property at this point. So creating a Miles Morales off the Spider-Man brand immediately gave Miles Morales a credibility, rather than create a new character that was an African-American superhero with, you know, a completely new backstory, a completely new name, and a completely new continuity. They just kind of stuck with the Spider-Man thing, you know. So yeah, if they created a black Batman, yes, it probably would immediately, you know, do very good because Batman has a huge brand. But why not take chances and just create new characters altogether? There's no issue with that. Especially with the backings of Warner Brothers and Disney that Marvel and DC have, you would think that they would be trying to put out new characters that are African Americans. That don't have to leech off of older characters that are already established. Look at Black Panther. Black Panther was a character that has been black the whole time, and look how great he is right now in the MCU. Look how much money he made in his recent movie. A lot. People love it. Whites like it, blacks like it, everyone loves it. It made over $1 billion. So you can create new characters, and they can all be successful. It's just a matter of putting them out there and doing it right. Source materials, everything. Don't just try to keep leeching off of older characters, you know, because obviously they're going to instantly do good. Miles Morales is doing good. Miles Morales is doing great right now. They just did the what's it called? Into the Spider-Verse. It did great. They also had a female Spider-Man too in the process with that. So you got a lot of good stuff going on. But to suggest that, well, we have to now eliminate some of the white princesses because there's only been a few African American princesses, so we have to eliminate some of the white princesses because there was, you know, this whole segregation of media back then, that Ariel has to be the sacrificial lamb, so to speak. Has to be the sacrificial lamb to this whole debate. I totally disagree with that. Why should a character that was intended to be white has to be a sacrificial lamb just because it was never specifically mentioned in the animated movie that she wasn't white, or she wasn't defined as being white? Why should that be the sacrificial lamb? Doesn't make sense, guys. And again, my last point, which I kind of, in a way, kind of put that in all these points that I have on this list. It goes against the source material, and you never want to go against the source material. The source material is what, you know, makes the bread and butter when it comes to any character in fiction. And if you tamper with it, at that point, you are not having the same character. This is a completely different character now that is, at this point, you might as well... Here's my thing. At this point, you might as well not even call this character Ariel anymore. You might as well just change her name. Just change her name and just change the story. Because it's not the Little Mermaid live-action adaptation of the cartoon movie. It's not. It is a completely different story that bends around mermaids, but is not the same story at this point. It's not. It's not the same story. So, at this point, don't call it The Little Mermaid anymore. I mean, call it something else involving mermaids, because it's not The Little Mermaid. It's not that story anymore, because you have now changed it, and you are now basically changing it into a different adaptation. So you might as well not even call her Ariel. Call her something else. Because it's not Ariel. That's not Ariel. Ariel was white. And that's what they should do. If you want to create a new mermaid story in live action form, fine. But don't call her Ariel. Don't call it The Little Mermaid. Call it a different name. Call it The Mermaid Tales or The Mermaid Chronicles. I don't freaking know. Call it something different. Because it's not The Little Mermaid anymore. At this point, it is not The Little Mermaid. It is not Ariel. Ariel's story is completely different. That's the only way this is going to work. I mean, the movie might do good. I mean, a lot of the Disney movies have done very well. Dumbo kind of bombed. I mean, I'm kind of disappointed because I thought the movie was okay. I actually I should take that back. I actually did like the movie. But they did change a lot of Dumbo from the original, and that kind of really disappointed me. But in a way with Dumbo, I guess you had to, because, I mean, they decided not to use a talking mouse. Because the whole story would have been about a talking mouse to a Dumbo, to Dumbo, or to the elephant at that point, which I don't think they were going to try to do. But at the same time, the movie didn't do that well. And again, that could be going just over the fact that it oversaturated everything, with all the other movies that are coming out for Disney. But nonetheless, it still didn't do good. It still didn't do good at the box office, and I honestly don't think The Little Mermaid, or whatever you end up calling this movie now, I honestly don't think this movie is gonna do well. I have been wrong in the past before, but considering the fact that within a day of the announcement of Ariel's casting, considering the fact that it's the number one trend right now, and still is right now on Twitter, and people are still talking about it, I don't believe this is going away. I don't think this is something that's going to go away after a week. I think people are going to be talking about this for a long time until the movie comes out, and that's going to hold a lot of baggage to a movie that has this much backlash before they even start producing anything, or before they start even screening anything, or not screening anything, before they even start working on the film. If you have this much backlash and much baggage, it's not a good sign for a movie. I've been wrong before. I was wrong about Captain Marvel, which I still don't know why anyone watched that movie, especially after what the actor said. So I could be wrong. I could end up being absolutely wrong. But from what I've seen, I have not, from what I've seen, there's going to be a lot of people that don't think go see this movie. I honestly don't want to go see. I probably am not going to go. Well, I definitely don't think I'm going to go see this movie. 99% sure I'm not going to go see this movie because of the way they treated this and the way they portrayed this. But we'll see what happens in the coming months. Like I said, I've tried to be as professional as I can be. Like I said, I have nothing against, I love diversity, and I have a lot of people that are black that I personally know. I voted for President Barack Obama. He's one of the best presidents in my lifetime that I've had the pleasure of seeing as my president. So I've tried to be as professional as I possibly can be when it comes to this topic, because I know there are a lot of people that are very sensitive about this topic. But I've tried to kind of, compose my own opinions on this and be objective as I possibly can. And again, I'm willing to debate anybody about it, and even people on the other side. My Discord line is always open, as well as my Discord server. I have my own personal Discord server, where I debate people, and there are people on my Discord server right now that have debated me about this that don't agree with me, and that's fine. But that's my take on this, guys. Like I said, let me know what you guys think. Comment, rate. If you like this video, my videos, please subscribe. And that's about it, guys. I'm the SS Ultimate Goku, and I'm out of here. Peace.